Hi everybody, Inspector Tom with Codes to Know, where we are saving the world one code at a time. Today we're going to talk about what the IRC has to say about doors. I know what you're thinking. My God, this is the most interesting man in the world. And you're right. Surprisingly, the IRC, the International Residential Code, has a lot to say about doors. At the end of the day, it's more than just swinging open and swinging closed. It's about how the heck do you get out of the building when bad things are happening in the home. Say the thing's on fire, you got to get out. What are the codes associated with it? I'm always surprised by one, the number of codes, and two, just how often they're wrong, especially in new builds. Stick around, we're going to cover this many codes in that short a period of time. We got to go. Let's roll. The first codes covered by the International Residential Code about doors are so basic, like they're almost funny. Okay, number one is that if you have a house and people live in it, you need to have an egress door. Okay, got it. Next, it's got to be side hinge, it's got to be unobstructed. People have to be able to get to it. Now that we know that you have to have a door, big should it be? Minimum 32 inches, and that's with it swung 90 degrees open, and minimum of 78 inches high. Other doors in the home are not required to have those same dimensional requirements, 32 by 78. So another key point is that from inside the home, anybody should be able to open it without any special knowledge, special keys. So if you got a throw lock with a thumb latch, totally cool. If you've got to stick a key from the inside to unlock something, no bueno, got to go. So now it's time to talk about the 700 different ways your home is going to kill you. In May 2018, the New York Times wrote an article detailing 28 deaths that had occurred from carbon monoxide poisoning. And what was happening is that people were accidentally, kind of new technology, right? Keyless fob ignitions. They were accidentally leaving their cars running in the garage overnight, and they were dying from carbon monoxide poisoning. Shortly after that, in the IRC, you started to see a provision that said any door to an attached garage needs to have a self-closing mechanism. What I can tell you from my experience, often they're not there. They're just not present. The other thing is when they are there, they're not properly adjusted so that that door closes and helps slow the introduction of carbon monoxide into the home. Garages often have a lot of hazards in them, whether it's running vehicles, sometimes natural gas water heaters, stored chemicals, stored fuels, those types of hazards. Know that any time that you've got an attached garage, there's some characteristics that those doors have to have. First, they've got to be 1.5 inches thick solid wood, or they've got to have a 20-minute burn fire rating on them. Know that if there's a pet access door, like a cat door or a dog door, a lot of times that's considered to have violated that fire rating. So one final point on doors to attached garages should never, ever be directly attached to a sleeping area. So if you're walking from a garage into the home and you're passing through a bedroom, that creates a whole bunch of really serious hazards. When it comes to doors leading to the exterior, the IRC gets picky. And the reason being is, let's say that you're inside a home, you're fleeing it because something's on fire or some chaos and anarchy is happening inside the home. Well, it doesn't do you any good if you make it all the way to the door and then you wipe out on the landing and house burns down on top of you. Okay, that's super extreme. Point being is that you can't have people make it to the door and then struggle to make it the last 5 feet to get away from the house. Here are the codes associated with exterior doors. You've got to have a floor on one side and you've got to have a landing on the other. Every single exterior door. The landing in the direction of travel has to be 36 inches long. So you swing open that door, you've got to have 3 feet in front of you for you to step onto. The width has to be equal to or greater than the door that it serves. So we know egress doors have to be 32 inches. Well, if you got a 32-inch door, you got to have a minimum of a 32-inch landing. If you got a 36-inch wide landing, so on and so forth. Finally, that landing should not be sloped more than 2%. That's kind of that magic number of where water will drain off, and yet it's not difficult to walk on. People don't feel uneven or unsteady. Now that we understand the landing dimensions, the next thing to consider is how far should that landing be relative to the top of that threshold? And the IRC says very specifically that from the top of the threshold down to that landing shouldn't be greater than 1.5 inch difference. This one is wrong all the time. And this is on that main egress door. So it's not supposed to be more than 1.5 inch difference. With brick veneers specifically, that's often that they're putting in a full brick width between that threshold and the main landing, which would be improper. The next one that gets missed all the time is when you've got an exterior door, not an egress door, just an exterior door, that step off from the top of the threshold to the landing should never be greater than 7 3/4 inches. There's an exception if you've got an exterior door with 2 or fewer steps. I'm not going to go into it, but here's the code number and some search terms for you. Thank you for watching Codes to Know. Like, subscribe, and stay safe, my friends.